The purpose of this tutorial is to show you how you can use the Students tab within Pearson Inform to create action plans, or AIPs, for your students. Once you sign into Pearson Inform, the first thing that you can do is either start on the Test Results tab to identify a student, or go to the Students tab. I'll begin by showing you how you could find a student from within the Test Results tab. Let's say I'm looking at my test results and I'd like to target a student who performed below on a particular assessment. I'll find the name of the assessment that I'm looking for. In this case, I'm looking at State Math Grade 3. And I'll scroll over to the side and click on the bar that says Below Standard for that particular assessment. Once I click on this, a list of students that fell below on this particular assessment will appear. What I'd like to do is identify a student that I'd like to create an action plan for. I'll find the student and click on their name. You'll notice that once you do this, it will take you from the Test Results tab to the Students tab automatically. What you see in this screen is the AIP, or the action plan, for this particular student, Frank. In our district, we have 2 AIPs that you can create for a student in this drop-down. Since I'm using a fictitious account, it just says AIP in this space. But using our Pearson Inform system, you can choose to create a language arts action plan or a math action plan for your students. You'll notice here along the side of the Students tab that there are many different icons that you can choose. To create an action plan, you'll select the one that says AIP. AIP has 4 windows within it that look like this. The first window within the AIP, or the action plan, is the Student Test History window. The next window is the Group and Intervention History. There's also a chart or a graph showing the student's performance over time. And then finally, a Parent-Student Responsibilities window where you'd be assigning the student goals. If you choose to, you can also find a student a different way instead of identifying them through the Test Results tab. If you're a classroom teacher, you can simply open or expand this side panel and the list of students that are in your class will appear along the side. Select the name of the student and their AIP will be pulled up for you. If you'd like to move this panel out of the way, simply click on this arrow again to collapse the side panel. Now let's begin by going through each of the windows within this AIP, or action plan. First, I'm going to expand the Student Test History window here. To expand a single window, click on the small square icon and it will expand. The first window here, the Student Test History window, has a list of all the assessments that have been administered to a student over time. Simply scroll down the list and you'll see the score that the student earned, the minimum required score in order to meet, and a check mark or an X indicating whether the student had mastered that particular assessment. This is simply a source of information for you to see how the student has performed over time. There is another page to the Student Test History window with useful information for you. If you go under the name Student Test History of this window, there's 2 arrows. This one indicates that we are on the Test Results page, but if you click on the right arrow, it will bring you to the Concept Standards page. Here, instead of just listing the overall test results that the student earned, you'll see the actual concepts or sub-skill scores on each of those assessments, so you can get an even more detailed breakdown of how the student performed. Once again, you'll have the minimum required score, as well as an indicator letting you know if the student had mastered that particular concept or had not. Once you've finished looking through all of the student's test history, you can click on this double square icon to minimize this window, or on this little small line here to bring it to the bottom and push it out of the way. The next window that I'd like to show you is the Charts and Graphs window. Once again, to make it larger, expand this window, and here you can see an indicator of the student's performance over time. Hover over any one of those bars and you'll see the student score, the district average, and the school average on that particular assessment. This is another just source of information for you in case you're interested in seeing their scores over time. Now I'm going to collapse this window and pull up the third window within the action plan, which is the group and intervention history window. This is where you'll be creating the bulk of your action plan. Click on this window to make it larger. And you'll notice, just like in the test results history window, there's actually 2 pages to the group and intervention history window as well. This first page is called the students groups page. And this is where you'll put the student into their various groups or interventions that they receive. So for student groups, some of the groups that we have in our Inform system are assets, learning links, fast track math, and so on and so forth. So here, these are the actual groups that a student is placed into to receive services. You'll notice here that there really is no way for you to add a group for a student within this window. So actually there's going to be another way that you'll put a student into a group. And once you do, their group will appear here. You'll see the name of the group, the school, who it was assigned by, their grade level, and the start and stop date for this group. Please note that anytime you place a student in a group, that this is permanent and will be stored in Inform forever. So you will be able to change the stop date if the student no longer is in this group, but you cannot delete the record of the group being in Inform. Now I'm going to make this smaller and show you how I can actually put Frank into another group. The way that I can do this is to go back into the Test Results tab where I had identified him in the first place. Here I can click on the checkbox next to his name and only him and go down to the very bottom where I see a box that says Take Action on Selected. If I click on this box, I can choose to add this student to a group or assign them to an intervention. What I'd like to do now is assign Frank to a group. Once I click on this, a list of all of the groups that have been created will appear here. I'd like to put him in 3rd grade assets at Glen Oaks and press Save. It says my changes have been saved. So now if I go back into the Students tab, I can clear out Frank's AIP. I'll open him up again, and it should reload with the record of him being added to the group. I'll expand this window so we can see the groups that he's been assigned to. Here, the group that I just added him to appears here, and you'll notice that there is not a stop date since the student is still currently in this group. If you'd like to add specific notes related to this student participating in the group, you can click on any one of these small notepads next to the name of the group. I'll click on this notepad here and click on the button that says Add a New Note. Now I can say who the instructor is that is providing the asset services to the student and any details about their participation in the group. Please make sure that any comments that you make are all very professional and nothing that is subjective. Any note that you add can be edited at any time, but it cannot be deleted. Now I'm going to show you the second page of the Group and Intervention History window. Click on the arrow, and now we'll be taken to the Intervention window. The intervention is the activities that they do within that group in order to address their needs. So what you can do is you can add an intervention by going to this green plus sign here to the right. From here, you can select an intervention from a drop-down list, and you'll see there's a lot of different types of interventions within here. There's Isabel Beck vocabulary, there's fluency instruction, small group instruction. So you'll find the particular intervention that the student is receiving. You can type in the frequency or the duration of this. So 4 days a week, and you can select the tier if you want to. This is optional. The start date. So if the student has started at the beginning of the year with this particular intervention, then you would use the first day of school. And if there's a stop date where the student will no longer be receiving this intervention, then you can place the stop date there and press save. So this is how you would add an intervention to the student's group and intervention history. Just like you can assign a note to a group, you can also use this small notepad to assign a note to one of these interventions. Here you can give details about the student's progress that they're making receiving this intervention, any concerns, and any details about their intervention that they're receiving. Now I'm going to collapse this window and open the last window within the AIP or action plan. This is the Parent-Student Responsibilities window here. If you would like to just use this as a place to store students' personal goals, you can create them right here. You have the option of creating both academic goals and behavior goals. If you'd like to assign a goal to a student, go to the green plus sign to the right and decide whether the goal is an academic goal or a behavioral goal. Type in your goal in this space here. This is the only required field. The last review date is the last time that this goal was discussed. If this is the first time that you're creating the goal, you don't have to put a date here in this blank. What you can do, though, is put in the date that you will next review this goal. So you can put in your next intervention day, and then once the student has met the goal, you can check the box that says goal met. Here it appears where you can check it once it's finished. The next page of this window is a responsibilities place where you can put in parent responsibilities or student responsibilities if you choose to do so. So this has been a tutorial showing you how you can use the action plan within Pearson Inform.